Welcome back to the Man Cave. We're going to jump right into this. We have a video here today. This is insane. They're trying to make misogyny a terrorist act. This is going further than they've ever gone before, and it's insane how there are people who are allowed to have platforms and there are laws that are put in place to make these things happen. Let's play it.
Cooper, who is the Home Secretary, she is saying that extreme misogyny will be treated as terrorism for the first time under government plans to combat the radicalisation of young men online. She's ordered a review of Britain's counter-terrorism strategy to urgently address gaps in the government's stance and to look at tackling violence against women and girls in the same way as Islamist and far-right extremism amid fears that current Home Office guidance is too narrow. Well, let's ask the opinion of Aisha Ali Khan. She's a human rights and women's rights campaigner. Aisha, thank you for joining me this afternoon. What do you make of this proposal from Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary?
Hi. So we've been talking about something like this for the last, 4 or 5 years now. And every time this kind of idea comes to the table and we discuss it, we get comments like the comment you just read out saying, violence against women and that kind of domestic abuse should not fall under the category of terrorism. And I think what we've definitely seen has been a massive increase in young people being radicalized online, especially young men. And these men have been, they're unhappy, they can't get a relationship, and they fall under the category of incels, which stands for involuntary celibate. Basically,
so these are young men who can't get a relationship. They are incels, involuntary celibates, as you say, and they hate women as a result of this, and they fall into whether they fall into or go there voluntarily, we can talk about in a second. But they're certainly very, very misogynistic and sometimes violently misogynistic.
All right, so let's start off with this. First of all, we're a minute and 39 seconds in, right? We just labeled men away without any statistics or anything proving this. Do we get into why these men are upset? No, because you're supposed to just fall in line. You're not supposed to express your feelings, but then you don't express your feelings, you're misogynist. If you do express your feelings, women look at you as being weak. Of course. We won't talk about why these men are single, why they are going their own way, why they choose not to go out with women. No, you're supposed to fall in line and do what you're supposed to do. That is exactly what this is. There is no data that backs up that the incels are this giant group of men who are going out there assaulting women. And if it's about going online, speaking your mind, are we not going to talk about feminism? All the things, videos of we need to abort male babies, we need to do this, we don't need men need to be destroyed. If see a man in the streets, these are things that they have actually said, and it never gets touched in the slightest. But misogyny and alt-right is your talking points. This is why I say society is some of the most dumbest people on the planet. They will jump on the bandwagon on anything as long as there's a large group of people who agree just a fraction of the amount of it that you need to feel a part of them, and you will go with them full Bergalian.
That's what it is too. These are men who would love to have a relationship with women, and for some reason they can't, and then they end up blaming not just women, but not just a particular woman, but all women, and the rise of feminism and so on. So they feel very hard done by, very angry, very upset, and those feelings are turning into basically towards violence to punish this woman.
Do you have data?
And
does she have data? No, she doesn't. Does she have any graphs? Nope, she doesn't. Just what she hears online, and she just regurgitates it, because this is what women do. They don't look for facts, because facts will partially agree with you, but then in the end they turn against you, and they don't like facts, so they just they take a piece of it, or they don't use facts at all.
Something that Yvette Cooper and obviously previously we've spoken to the sort of people around this legislation as well, how to tackle this. So it's been formally, we hope that it's going to be formally recognised in the next couple of months, and steps are going to be taken to basically enshrine this in law.
Can I just ask you what you think radicalization means, because I think we know what it means, but in this context, I just want you to explain what your view of being radicalized is, how it actually works, and what the kind of thoughts would be of someone who is radicalized in comparison to someone who is just sexist or misogynist, just someone on the street, someone in the workplace who says and does silly, stupid things that they shouldn't do, and are unacceptable in society. But it's not terrorism per se.
So, if we look at the definition of radicalization under the current terror laws, the idea is that somebody is open to committing a violent act, and their mindset has been slowly
Aborting male babies
from, like you said, making harmless comments or sort of posting harmless memes and so on, to actually wanting to take physical action in terms of causing terror or causing harm to somebody. And I think that the reason why these are it's becoming more and more of an issue is because we've got people like Andrew Tate and other influencers that are using the sort of feelings of anger and rejection and frustration.
Everything revolves around Andrew Tate. I'm going to tell you something right now. They are so afraid of Andrew Tate, it's not even funny. And he is like the talking point of, he's not saying anything that men haven't already been saying, but his following scared the crap out of you. All the videos of feminists who say everything negative about wanting to destroy the seeds of men, it goes right over those goggles of yours. But for some reason, Andrew Tate bothers you the most because it affects you. Understand, women are just the most selfish creatures on the planet. And you know she's a feminist, without a doubt, because their brain is designed to think about themselves and womanhood. That's it. And even then, it still seems like you don't know what the heck to think about.
Amongst these young men, and they're basically
Andrew Tate.
They're monetizing misogyny. They're monetizing these feelings of anger and just kind of taking advantage, in my opinion, of young men who are clearly unhappy. They're upset, and they're basically,
why are they upset?
Young men who would have just been able to speak.
How come these people never ask why these men are mad? They never ask, why are you upset? They just label them losers. You go overseas, you're a loser. You go to your own little group to be alone with men. Oh, you must be gay. You must like other men. Oh, you just like, I don't want to date women. Oh, these are incels. This is how they think. This is what happens when society tells men that you're not wanted, needed, or desired. You have a bunch of people that will insult you and then be shocked when you react. Oh, I don't understand why he's acting like that. What is he doing? Well, that doesn't make any sense to me. He must have had problems at home.
Out to their friends and so on. At some point now, they've got this massive subculture online. They can log on, and talk to these other men, other people that they may never have met in real life, and they may never meet. And
yeah, because these men are actually talking to other men about how things work. It's not a fair world for men, and that's why these men are talking. When it was women telling each other all these lies and pushing violence, you didn't care. So why would men sit up in here and care? At least not the men who are not simps. Because those simps and panda bears, they get rich or they get the pleasure of being close enough to them, these women.
They can actually share horrible fantasies, and it's actually normalizing those types of attitudes towards women. And then obviously at some point, a young person, for them it might not be enough, so they want to take something, steps in real life, and they want to actually live out some of these horrible fantasies. And some of the messages I've read, and
no proof.
Way, Peter, sorry,
no proof.
I'm actually a classroom teacher as well.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
Lord, no.
Disadvantage. And some of the messages I've read, and by the way, Peter, sorry, I should have also added, I'm actually a classroom teacher as well.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
Young disadvantaged and disenfranchised.
So now that you're a teacher, are you going to step up and talk about how females, because this majority of them are females, are encouraging little boys to put on dresses and walk and parade around and do all the other stuff? Are you going to talk about that, the effects of that? No, because that goes against the agenda if you did. That's okay. Those boys need to be in touch with their feminine side. Girl, if you ever tell my son that he needs to be in touch with his feminine side, you're going to get in touch with my masculine side. I don't care how that gets me demonetized or not. You're not gonna be talking to my kid like that. It's funny how we pick and choose what's important for society and what isn't, and usually, depending on who you're talking to, it isn't.
These young men for the last 4 years, and I've actually had conversations face to face with these young people, and it's not just young men feeling, young boys feeling unhappy about sort of say the economy, for example, the fact that there's no jobs, there's no sort of possibilities for them when they leave school, the chances of them getting good GCSEs are very low as well. So these are all issues that combine together.
So you're actually.
So why aren't we tackling that? I go to college and I have nothing waiting for me. I'm working, but I have to stay at home and live with my parents because I can't afford it. Food is too expensive. I'm getting the bare minimum and still spending a crazy amount of money. I have immigrants that come here and are getting my tax dollars. They're getting paid all the money just to sneak across the border, getting free IDs, getting free EDP cards, getting free money to feed their families. But I'm here working every single day. This is why Gen Z, you know what? They were onto something. They were getting screwed. And while everyone was making fun of them, they were right. They were 100% correct. They're getting robbed and told to keep working. You will work and you will like it. You will get nothing and you will like it. Oh, I don't understand why these people are upset. Stupidity.
Let me just get into that a little bit, Aisha, because of course the extreme end of this is the terrorism and what you're saying should be the law. But actually you're at the sort of the original bit of it, the start. I said, well, hopefully not the start, but hopefully you're curbing it. But there are many young men you're dealing with on a daily basis who are perhaps at risk of this, or at risk of these sorts of being not necessarily radicalized, but certainly influenced by these kinds of videos.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, when you think about it, these young men are being young boys. Sorry, let's just start with. They're being exposed to all types of very casual misogyny. They're playing games and characters that are female that are being run over. They're being beaten up. They're being stamped upon, and then they see it in their home lives. They see it with amongst their friends. They see it in potential relationships that that are playing out in front of them. And there's nobody to challenge these types of.
I play GTA all the time. When I get pissed off on a mission, I go on a shooting spree. I start spraying everyone. But guess what? Like many other boys who play GTA, it's just to get out your anger and frustration. You move on. It is insane that this is why I say feminism is a cancer, because it's all about feelings and less about logic. There's no logic that goes into it that makes any sense. They just say whatever makes them feel better. Let's get something straight. Do you think these men are going out? There's no reports of this. They just say things. There are more reports about the migrants who are hurting people than there are incels who are American citizens doing anything. But this is your focus. You can't talk about the migrants because they're a protected class and you represent everything that class stands for, even if it's garbage. I'm telling you, feminism is a cancer for women. The best thing a woman can do is stay away from a westernized world mindset and stay away from feminism, which was designed specifically just to corrupt your brains because they knew you could do it.
Ideas, and that's something that I feel really strongly about as a teacher. As soon as there's some kind of comment that's being made, oh, we don't want to pick up our plates because it's not our job, it's a girl's job. These are the types of comments that it starts from.
Right.
And you know, I speak to young girls. I teach young girls as well, and the kind of comments that they have to put up with, comments about their bodies, comments about their looks, comments about whether somebody would want to sleep with them. And these are teenage girls, then 12, 13, 14, and they don't have the tools or the skill set to basically stand up for them.
I'm so done. I can't do this anymore. I am done. I'm going to end it with this. Let's get something straight. Because I know where she's going with this, but she's never going to admit this. Or if she does, she's going to figure out some way to swing it around to make it about women. No, I'm going to keep playing. Women are the worst things to happen to other women. You would think that boys are cruel. Other girls are worse. They grade each other. They'll even encourage each other to be bigger 304s. They'll talk about how you don't have the right purse, you don't have the right shoes, you don't look the part that you're supposed to be looking at. They will do this, and they're much worse, but you won't call them out because it's a girl on girl incident. BS as we know it.
Themselves, they are effectively bullied by these young boys who are also similar in ages as well. And I think then that snowballs. And obviously going back to my previous point, when you log online and you have other people that are writing similar things and sharing similar views, it's normalized, it's internalized, and it's really difficult to then, as a young adult, after having all these kinds of views.
Yes. Is it all coming? I mean, you're seeing young people, or is it all, and you know about the very radical side of it as well. Is it all coming from men? It's all coming from young men, or are there some young women or older women who are doing this as well? Or I mean, what sort of proportion would you say?
I think what I've seen is that obviously these are young men that are basically expressing themselves, but they're helped by other young women and other women as well. So if they have a very patriarchal, very traditional or conservative upbringing, sorry, they will have seen that type of attitude, the types of attitudes. Women are there to serve the men, women are there to make the men happy and to make sure that they're looked after, and it's a woman's job. Whereas men, effectively boys as well, can do what they want. There's no accountability, there's no responsibility, and it's absolutely perfectly fine. And I speak as a Pakistani Muslim woman from a Punjabi background, very patriarchal. So I have seen this growing up amongst my own family members, amongst the
How have you challenged it in your own community, or Aisha? What have you tried to do?
Well, number one, I was very lucky that I was able to get an education, because so many of my friends, people sort of around my age, when I talk to people and I say, well, most of my friends got married at 15 and 16, and then they became housewives. Some weren't even allowed to go and finish their GCSEs
In your country.
and get qualifications and able to support themselves. And that was from growing up in the 90s in the UK, and then obviously I've gone to university. I was one of the first people to female to drive, sorry, amongst my community. And these are the little things that I look back on, and I think, gosh, we have come a massive way from back, those years. But in some ways,
in your country,
not so much. And that's
in your country, your country, your country, your country. They saw them as second-class citizens. They believed in family, and women became housewives. Why don't these feminism movement members ever go to these other countries where they know, oh, that's right, because they're going to tell you to go F yourself and put you in your place? I knew it was only a matter of time. Of course, I'm done. I'm official. I can't do this anymore. These women always want to come out here, and then they have men, but then you have all the women that side with them. It's not that they're happy. It's not that they're content with their about their environment. Oh, good Lord, no. They're the problem. Alt-right. They want to be housewives. So when women do what you tell them, they're right. But when a woman does, it goes against what you think and feel, all of a sudden they're wrong. They feel this way. As an independent woman, they feel that they want to be housewives. That's a problem. That's alt-right. That's misogyny. That's women who don't know the world that they can be offered. They make bad decisions. I swear this is the reason why feminism is a destructive force that needs to be destroyed or eradicated.